Hey everybody, peace and blessings to you. I'm just gonna let you know this is my third recording that I'm recording today on March 10th, 2025. It is Monday and daylight savings was yesterday, started yesterday. And these has started or ended. I don't know. But daylight savings, we sprang forward yesterday. Sprang forward an hour yesterday. And the reason that this is my third recording is sometimes I have various ideas and things that I want to talk about. Videos come some the videos start to get too long and I have to push an idea into another video. This was the main video that I wanted to record. This is an idea for a recording, a discussion that I had, since the weekend. And I wanted to call this video America. Simple, America. And intuitive thoughts, or my thoughts. America. I don't know if they're intuitive thoughts, they're just sharing America from my perspective. As I have been here for almost 20 years, I have raised 5 children here. I have lost one 5-day-old son here. I've had a miscarriage. I've had, I've ended pregnancies. I don't know why I'm sharing that. But I have experienced all kinds of experience. I've been on some of the programs that help, like food stamps and WIC. And, you know, my child went to Head Start for a couple of years. I My children did public school for a little bit, but I realized that I really didn't enjoy sending my kids to public school. It wasn't for me. I wanted to be a homeschool parent. I tried sending them to public school once or twice, and both times I hated it so much, and I couldn't wait till the term was over. And I was like, no, no, we're done. We are definitely homeschooling. I am definitely a homeschooling mom. And I came here, I moved to the United States when I was 22, 1 month away from my 23rd birthday. And my daughter, who is just 4 days, her birthday is just 4 days before mine, we're both August born. She was 1 month away from her first birthday. So her entire life is the United States. She does not remember Barbados. That's where we're from, at all. And my formative years is the United States. I matured here. So in my age and period of maturity and womanhood and motherhood, it was here. So I've been here for almost the same amount of time that I've been in the island I was born in, Barbados. And I've seen the shift. I've seen America change and become something different to what it was when we first got here. I've seen myself change and become something different to what I was when I first got here. And though, you know, I for a long period of time in my 20s and my 30s, I didn't really pay attention to like the political, environment in America, and I didn't pay attention to politics. I didn't pay attention to that kind of stuff because as I shared in previous videos, my mom. I grew up hearing that politics is like a dirty game, which is true, and it's just not something that you want to be involved in. It's only because of Donald Trump and wondering how Donald Trump came to be, making me have to kind of like look back and to see how we got here, to try to figure out how we got here. And then I had to try to understand people better because one of the things I couldn't reconcile with is how the people that I went to church with, you know, my last church, when this man was elected, was a white church. and I couldn't reconcile how the people that I was going to church with, who were Christians and godly people, supported this person. I didn't get it. I didn't get it. And I also, one of the things I didn't get is how people would say stuff like make me believe that Republicans were more Christian. They were better for Christians than Democrats. As I started to understand things more, I didn't see it that way, because I was starting to understand that a lot of the programs that helped me to be the mother that I needed to be, that helped me as I was coming up in motherhood and coming out dealing with all of the things I was dealing with, those were things that Democrats supported. I actually couldn't reconcile. Again, I couldn't understand. I couldn't reconcile how Republicans didn't, which is supposed to be the party of family values, as people would say it, and a Christian, better for Christians, because they were anti-abortion or whatever. I didn't understand how they didn't want to help people in any way, form, or fashion with anything. This just seemed, they didn't want to. I just didn't understand. I didn't understand. And it's only as I started to pay attention more and more and more and more and more, I started to understand, and I've started to get it. I've started to get it. I'm getting it, and I've gotten it, But at first I didn't get it. I didn't get it. So, about America. So, kind of like the reason I wanted to come here is because I felt Barbados was too small for me. It's too small for my ideas, too small for what I wanted to do and the world I wanted to see, and the too small for me. I wanted bigger. I dreamt bigger. I wanted more. I wanted more. I wanted to experience certain things that I still haven't experienced. I wanted some American experiences that I still haven't experienced, which is like, I still haven't gotten to go to Disney World. I always wanted to do that. I haven't gotten to go much places. Even in the states I've lived, I haven't gotten to go much places because I came up here and I ended up having a bunch of children instead. And then you have a bunch of children, and you gotta take care of the children. You got money. So I didn't really get to do much of the things that I initially wanted to come up here to do, And then I also struggled with anxiety very badly for a good chunk of my adulthood, my young adulthood, a good chunk. In my 20s and most of my 30s, I struggled with anxiety very badly. And it's only from when I finally moved out of the city areas and out of urban communities and out of the loudness and the city energy, and I came to a farm, the suburbs first, and then a farm, and now I'm kind of like in a in between space in a rural area, but not as wide and as not as wide and open as where I was before, but still in the quiet, and still in the surrounded by trees and surrounded by nature and surrounded by beauty and quiet and peace and serenity and birds, and just where I want to be, where I've always wanted to be, the kind of place I want to live, right? It is only from moving away from the urban areas, which I don't like. I'm not intending any disrespect to urban areas. It just wasn't for me as the type of person I am, as for what I needed. It wasn't for me. It heightened my anxiety, and I only overcame the anxiety when I moved away from that and I started to live in a quiet, more open space, and I lived the farm life, and I lived the quiet life, and I lived among nature and trees and peace and quiet serenity. That is when I started to overcome my anxiety. But I had it for a long time. When I first got here, I thought I was lucky to be here. No, in this stage of my life, I think America's lucky to have me. You know, I'm an immigrant, and I always think how people are so anti-immigrants, right? How people want immigrants. So then I think about that in the context of me and imagining myself being pushed out of this country because people don't want immigrants here or whatever. And I'm just thinking, if I that's not gonna happen. I have no fears or belief that that's gonna happen in my case. But I'm just thinking that if I did, I wouldn't be like it's my loss. I would be like it's your loss. I would be like America is your loss, because my opinion of America at the moment is that America, the country in itself, the energy, the collective energy of what it is, not necessarily talking about the individual people, the individual empathetic people and progressives and the people that don't ascribe to the overall American energy, but the America as it is right now, being a capitalistic country, it got to the point where it became an oligarchy controlled country, and it created like these extreme billionaires who at the moment are kind of like trying to trap us in their algorithms and their boxes of control, you know, because they're trying to control the information and the media and the news media and the social media and how people communicate, how people connect, and they're trying to control the shopping like Amazon and that kind of stuff. And they have monopolies on things, and monopolies in their areas like Walmart and these big franchises that kind of like push out all the small businesses, and most of the small businesses, they kind of trapped us in that. I started to realize that I am not a capitalist. I am anti-capitalism. I don't know if that's the way to say it. I'm just not for capitalism as it is being done here. I'm not for this version of capitalism. I'm not for this version of greed and this version of hoarding of wealth. I'm not for that. And I realize that the energy, the overall energy of this country is, egoic. It's very egocentric. It's very self-absorbed. I watched an interview with Jasmine Crockett when she was making a case to Americans to start to look out for their interests. Be the selfish people. She said, be the selfish people. You I forget how she exactly worded it, that you are, and she was trying to say, look at what this government is doing, and it's taken away from you. And she was like, I can't remember the exact words, but in one part of what she said was, be the selfish people that you are, or something like that, and it kind of like the conversation kind of like didn't really dwell on that too much. So she said it, and then it made the conversation like moved, but it's just that's a classic representation of the American spirit. The American spirit seems very overall, not talking about individual people, but overall, the overall spirit seems egoic and selfish and self-absorbed, and self-grandizing. Is that a thing? Is that a way to say it? Where America sees itself as, Superman or Captain America, that kind of like hero, a hero of the world, and the world needs us. And when I listen to the men of the Republican Party, when I listen to the men from the Republican Party speak, You know, people like J.D. Vance, and I heard when Tom Cotton, I listened to his speech when he was making a case to for not when Ro Khanna was trying to get to extend and to stop the TikTok ban from going through, and you know he was speaking about how Americans was relying on Ro Khanna was speaking about the Americans that their livelihood was connected to TikTok and how much this will hurt people. And then Tom Cotton and somebody else after him, two Republican men, got up and they started to speak, and you know the words that they said, especially Tom Cotton. First of all, the lies and the language that he used, and the egotism in the way how he was speaking, you know. And I just you could just hear in these men when they talk the ego, the Elon Musk, and all of them, all of these Republican men, the ego is crazy. And then the women, the Republican women, to me is what I've, you know, these are things that I learn as I start paying attention. But I do see the internalized misogyny that I heard about, you know, where these women are just as misogynistic as the men, you know. And so one of the things you gotta know about me is that I don't just take what people say and just run with it. I have to see it for myself. Like, how do I accept it as true is resonance when it, and I've said this in previous videos, because I've seen it for myself. Like, for instance, I personally had the opportunity in more than one occasion to experience white privilege, to experience the energy in which nothing could touch me. That kind of feeling that of I'm invincible, and it's not because they're white, but I feel like it's just that feeling like they've just never had to deal with a lot of these certain challenges and thought processes that other people had to deal with, and you can feel it. It's just this feeling of nothing can touch me. I'm invincible. I'm untouchable. I've experienced that. I've experienced the experience of white splitting, I guess, you know. I've experienced people explain to me when I try to share my perspective. I've experienced white people trying to explain to me. I don't know how to word it, the experience. I don't know how to describe that experience, but it was like not understanding my perspective, not understanding my perspective from the position that I'm in. Like only understanding theirs and trying to explain theirs and explain why my perspective isn't, I don't know what the right wording is. I don't know what the right wording is because I have not explored that experience in a while, so I don't know. But I know I felt it at the time. You know, I felt it at the time, and then, you know, when people didn't talk about that, I could say, okay, well, yeah, I get it because I experienced that. And I've experienced it on a small scale, not large scale, but small scales, small enough that I could get that it exists. I could see that exists, but not large enough to be like, okay, this is a major part of my life, and I experience this all the time, and I without a shadow of doubt, I know that this exists and how it exists, you know. But I've had different experiences in America. I've never had a red state experience. I've lived in two blue states only, and you know I love the state that I live in. It's one of the smallest ones, you know, and I love this one better than the other state that I lived in. And I have So I've experienced, but the other state that I lived in, I had more privileges that I have in this one. You know, I had more access to certain things that I do not have access to in this state that I live in. So I've experienced a little bit of a difference in the various in various states. Not a lot, but 2 states, and the contrasts and what you get and what you don't get. I've experienced to be with and without. So I've had quite a bit of an American experience, and I've been back and forth for the last since for a good while, back and forth about whether we should stay or whether we should go. Back and forth conversation, up and down, up and down, whether we should stay or whether we should go, leave this country or stay, and still having that conversation. Part of me at the moment thinks I should stay because I feel like as a light worker, this is where in the epicenter of the world's troubles and the world's fight. This is one of the main countries, and I feel like I want to stay to hold my holy light and help. I don't feel afraid or in danger because I feel protected. I feel protected by the light. And if you're wondering where this little rainbow is coming from, it's a what do you call those things? The thing that catches the sunlight in the window. I forgot what you call it. But I don't feel in danger, even though I am in an endangered community. I am at risk. I am not as safe as some people. I'm not one of the highly safe ones, or my family is at risk in some areas, but I personally feel protected by the light, protected by source, and I'm deliberately moving now to move the rainbow around on my face. But anyway, I feel like what America's experiencing now is just the harvest from many, many seeds that have been sown. And one of these storylines I was thinking about in this when it comes to Americas, I was thinking about Troy and the movie with the Trojan horse, and I feel as though the Trojan horse was the Republican Party, the Republicans that was bought and paid for by Russia. Not the ones that get purged out of the party, not the rhinos as they will be called, as they're called, the rhinos like Adam Kinzinger and Mitt Romney, and if John McCain was still alive, he'll be pushed out too, purged out of the party, and the Liz Cheneys. Those are classic conservative Republicans that I have different opinions with. But those aren't the ones, the Trojan horse Republicans, the ones that I call the rats, the ones that are purchased and doing the work for Russia, the traitors, the Trojan horse Republicans. And that's one of the things I think about, is that those are Trojan horses that was presented as a gift toward, for the ego, towards the egoic state of the country. And now they're wreaking havoc and they're destroying from within. And I don't know how the story gonna end. I don't know how it's gonna end for me. I don't know how it's gonna end in general, but and I will probably do another part to this at some point. But I think that America needs to heal and deal with its ego, deal with a lot of stuff that was undealt with for a very, very long time. It has to deal with its shadow work, I guess. As a country, America's shadow work has to be dealt with, and healed. And the only way that's going to happen is with the FAFO experience. And this is the FAFO experience. And Trump, and Elon Musk and all those people, MAGA, that's the catalyst. Trump is the catalyst to something greater if the right steps are taken and the right choices are made. So I hope that I said what I wanted to say. This is my third video, so I'm running out of juice. I'm recording this video on March 10th, 2025, just reminding you. I don't know when it's going to be posted, but that's when I'm recording it. And I hope that this video makes you well. I hope that the words make a difference. And then don't forget to share and like and subscribe and comment and help me out. Help me grow my channel and help me with the algorithm. Peace and blessings and much love. Thank you for watching.